Defiance Season 2, Episode 2, In My Secret Life. This was a really good second episode for the season. It kind of shows that we are going to be back inside Defiance for the rest of this season, or at least most of this season. The last episode, we got to see a lot of different areas, and we still got to see the prison technically, but I don't consider that to be too much of a new area because it's a prison, and prisons don't show you much except for the prison and the prisoners. But it was a really good episode. We get to see how things have kind of gone full circle by the end of this episode, at least, with Nolan and Irisa heading back to Defiance, and Nolan, in order to save Irisa, becomes sort of a temporary lawkeeper again to stop this bomber. And by the end of the episode, he reclaims his place as the lawkeeper inside of Defiance. So it'll be interesting to see, with the E-Rep being there, how he's going to go up against them, which he does in this episode where he talks to the new woman who we actually get introduced to, Berlin. And I like her character. I think she's interesting. Initially, she's just like the person trying to get good footage for the E-Rap and try to clearly make their image better than it really is. And she's telling the guy, don't say it's awesome. And he's messing around with her. And they aren't exactly as serious as they want people to think. But she wants them to have that really strict image. And she's getting footage of the town and stuff. And I really love the scene where Nolan finds the guy, or finds like the first person before he actually gets to the bomber, and he chases him, and that guy just pushes Berlin out of the way, and she's just like filming stuff, and she's clueless, and she just gets knocked down. I thought that was a funny little scene. And then they have the portion where I guess it was sort of foreshadowing her having the camera all the time and being the one to film other people. It sort of foreshadowed the scene where her and Nolan are in the little room, and she's the one who basically keeps tabs on the entire city with all of the cameras. And I thought that was interesting. And they put references to stuff that people are dealing with currently or have dealt with in this past year, with hacked emails and like phone taps and stuff like that, NSA type of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I like her character. It was interesting to be introduced to her. She seems like the other side of the E-Rep that we're really going to get to see. It's going to be the mayor, and then it's going to be her, and they're going to be our sort of two people that help us get a look into who the E-Rep really are, even though we kind of already know. But I really enjoyed this episode, and we got to see Tommy and Irisa sort of have their moment. And Tommy mentions how he moved on, and I thought it was simply he moved on because it had been 9 months. And who knows, she could have just, Irisa could have been dead and he had no idea what was happening. And in the end of this episode, we find out that he's with the girl Berlin, and that kind of hurts Irisa, as we see she sort of just stops in her tracks and turns away. So that's going to come up. It might not be in the next episode, but that's going to come up in some future episode. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because she's going to be mad, I'm sure, but Tommy has an excellent reason, because Irisa was just gone for 9 months and no one really knew what happened. But I really enjoyed this episode. We got to see some really interesting stuff. I think some of the greatest moments came out of the prison, where we get the mayor, he goes in, and first off, him talking to the doctor, that kind of led back to her and some of the things that she dealt with before she settled into Defiance. And we get a little hint at a small, it might end up being a big plot device, but her having that safe in her room, whatever's in there is something important, because she kind of just shut down when he asked about it. So it's something important in there. It probably has to do with Irisa, I'm sure, but it's something crucial. And when she didn't talk, she got her pinky chopped off, which I thought was pretty gross. And then it, like, her white blood, so to speak, like, came out, and so she's been wounded. And when the mayor's leaving, of course, they try to enact their plan. Daytak, he tries to enact his plan, and of course he does sort of the typical thing, like, oh, this guy was going to kill you, so let me stop him, and then surprise, I'm the hero now. And that doesn't really work, because the mayor is smart enough to know he set up that plan to kill that guy and be the hero, but it doesn't really work in Daytak's favor, which I love that scene. And also everything that happened with his family in this episode was really good. It just really ramped up, and it's becoming, in the last episode, it was my favorite part of the episode, was what's happening with Daytak's family without him. And what's happening is that the woman behind the man, who really had a lot of power in the last season, is in complete control in this one, and she's controlling her son. She was almost killed because she had the guy beat up, and he didn't want to take that crap, so he was gonna blow her up, and she sent her son to kill him, and that was a really good scene at the end where he had to defend himself and kill the guy, and he has a little scar, so he's gonna have that wound, and I'm sure it's gonna be permanent. He's gonna kind of look at that, and that's gonna, I guess, sort of shift him and lead him down the path that his mother wants him to go to. And at some point, she probably won't have to tell him to hurt this person or hurt that person. He's gonna feel like he should have been bad the whole time because he got that scar, and it's gonna be like, I should have learned my lesson, and I should just be brutal like my dad, because otherwise, I'll lose my mom, I'll lose my wife, or I'll get killed myself. So I have to kill other people first. So I feel like that's how that's gonna work. It might take a long time before that actually happens, but I feel like this will be a really big turning point for him. Even though of course, he vomited, like he threw the knife and he just puked all over the stairs, or like on the ground over the stair railing. But that was a good scene. It was a defining moment for his character, and I'm really excited to see where he goes from that, because he's obviously dealing with a bunch of crap with his mom, kind of putting him down in this episode, saying like he's the reason that she was almost killed. So that's just becoming better and better every episode, even though we get just little bits and pieces here and there. And also, another thing that happened is the mayor canceled the whole Blue Devil thing within the city. And of course, he claimed it was because his people were getting addicted, but I'm pretty sure it's because the former mayor, I still can't think of her name, he had the camera in her room, and so he saw her smoking the Blue Devil in the last episode. And I think that's why he stopped that, because he wants her to be alive, because he clearly has a thing for her. And in this episode, once again, he's watching her and Nolan when they're together. So who knows how that's going to turn out, because he stopped the Blue Devil because he wanted to save her, and now she's clearly attracted to Nolan. So what's he going to do to Nolan now? He can't, like, he could try to go crazy and have him killed, but I doubt he'd do that. I feel like he's smart enough to know he has to be a lot more subtle about it. But I'm, weird. That's gonna be like a really weird love triangle where he's really just on the outside because no one wants the crazy evil, like clearly evil but acting like he's a good guy character. But he's probably gonna lose his mind and try to get rid of Nolan somehow, and it won't just be like, why don't you just leave Defiance type of thing. He's gonna try to kill him. But this is a great episode, and Irisa did promise Tommy that she would show him everything in the mines. She was stopped in her tracks by what she saw, but she might come around, so it might be a way for them to sort of hold off us getting some more in-depth answers, because she probably has answers. Well, of course she has answers that we don't know as viewers with 9 months worth of knowledge, but it's sort of a good way for them to stop us from getting a really big piece of information too early. So she's gonna have her fight with Tommy and stuff, and then once she comes to terms with him having moved on, then she'll probably keep her promise and show him the mines, and we'll get to see everything. It probably, what she shows him probably won't be important. It's more gonna be what she ends up telling him about what she knows, and about the little kid that's telling her to kill people. We'll probably get a lot more specifics on that, but I'm excited for that to come up, even though, like I said, it's probably going to be held off for a while now that they have something to really talk about, because she's been shocked. But I thought it was a really good second episode. I was really surprised that Nolan became the lawkeeper again. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought they would kind of just be in the city, and he would be trying to figure out why Irisa really wanted to go back. But he's kind of just been swept right up into it again, and now it's going to be even harder for him, because he has to work with the EREP, who are clearly the bad guys in this scenario. But great second episode. Can't wait to see the third one. Excited to see how things play out with the Attack's family. And in the preview, it seemed to focus a whole lot on his son. And so I'm really excited about that, because like I said, that has been my favorite stuff within these last 2 episodes. So an entire one on that should be really interesting. And I'm sure at some point, Daytak is going to get out of prison, and then things are really going to be crazy, because his wife clearly, she made it real clear to the mayor, she doesn't want him out, but she of course did it in her very, very elegant and intelligent way, where she says, no, people who used to work with the former general would want nothing more than to kill my husband, so he's of course safer in prison. So that was just typical genius on her part. So it was, nothing, you can expect nothing less from her. But I'm excited for the next episode, and I think that might really be when we get to see what Alak goes through and how he changes in this episode, what path he chooses to take, if he's gonna be like his father and be what his mother wants him to be, or if he's gonna try to ride the fine line like he was trying to do, which ultimately led to his mother having people beat up and then him having to kill that person in the end. So we're probably gonna get that answer in the next episode. It probably won't be just said and done in the next one. It's gonna be, of course, something over time because it's not what he's used to. But I'm very excited for it. I'm loving the second season so far. Comment below, let me know what you guys saw this episode, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what do you guys think of the new characters that we've been introduced to so far. It's really only been the mayor and Berlin, but I kind of like them. I like the mayor, he's obviously the more evil person, and Berlin, she's clearly the one who she follows orders because she feels that's the way to get society back to normal. But what do you guys think of these new characters? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.